Hi, this is Mr. Payton. Welcome to Mindset. Today's question is, are you willing to be vulnerable? Now, male or female, a lot of times vulnerability is a terrifying thing. It's not just scary, it's terrifying. Because that means you got to put yourself out there. For a lot of us, it means you got to share your weaknesses. And for others of us, it just flat out means that, it means failure, it means pain. But I don't look at vulnerability that way. For me, vulnerability is essential in what I do. I'm an educator. When I started my career, I started off teaching little people, third grade, second grade, first grade. I'm 6'5". And if I was just to walk around and quote unquote be myself or keep my guard up, I would have never connected with those kids at that size and that age. I had to be vulnerable. I had to let them know that I could have fun. I had to let them know that I could sit on the floor, hold their hands, skip, go play outside. So sometimes being vulnerable simply means allowing people into certain spaces of your being. For some of us, it's letting them into our intellectual space, admitting that we don't know some things and being willing to learn. For others of us, it means letting them into our personal space. Like I said, for me, it was about, some hugs and some hand holding because they were little people. And for many of us, it means letting people into our emotional space, which is dangerous for a lot of us. But it doesn't have to leave you completely exposed. Being vulnerable could just simply mean that you share the emotions that you're ready to share at that time. After all, nobody knows what's going on in your life, so you can share the things that you're comfortable sharing. For me, I find vulnerability to be an indispensable tool, particularly with young men. When boys see that I'm willing to share things that I'm afraid of, or that I have fear at all. Again, remember, you can't have courage without fear. When boys see that I'm willing to share my emotions, not just the angry ones, not just the tough ones or the smiling ones or the interesting ones, but when I can show sadness, I can show remorse, I can show forgiveness, apology. That's very important because a lot of our young men don't get that modeled. Now, on the side of the young ladies, a lot of times my vulnerability allows me to connect with them in mostly a fatherly way, sometimes in a big brother way, but mostly a fatherly way. And at this age, even a grandfatherly way. And part of that is me stating my position without invalidating theirs. Let me give you an example. Sometimes students will say, why can't we say curse words? And I give them two reasons generally. One is either because it's a poor practice and I don't want you to talk that way. But the most important one is that I want them to learn how to express themselves without using those words. So it's a teachable moment. But when I share with those young ladies that I'm not going to jump all over them if they slip up and say a word, it doesn't say, hey, go ahead and go curse all the time. But it tells me that, look, I understand that that's the way that you think is authentic for you to communicate. However, I'm challenging you to find a better way to communicate. It bridges this gap between, domineering, overseeing male to, okay, understanding, but yet holding a standard male. And I think that's important. Additionally, vulnerability has a lot to do with expression. And having worked in Title I schools, one of the weakest areas of academia for them is their ability to write. Part of it is structural, knowing grammar, knowing how to put together sentences, forming paragraphs, writing different types of genre, whether it be argumentative, informational, those types of things, or a narrative. But it's also about the fact that they don't want to share what they're really thinking. One, they don't think it's valuable. And two, they simply don't have the tools or the vocabulary to get the words out. So today I'm going to end things in a little bit of a different way. As you all have been supporting me and learning from me and watching me and teaching me things as well in your comments, I decided I wanted to share another art form that I really appreciate and I like to use, and that is poetry. And so I'm going to end today's lesson, session, episode with something that I wrote, and I hope that you enjoy it, and I hope that you find some value in it. A kid was born in the mid-70s. Not cool, not cute, just nerdy. He grew up afraid of who he was. But by 12, he was like, nah, cuz. Still, he needed a model. You know, a dad. Eventually, he became everything that he never had. He used to have an ace, a friend, tearing his hair away. But God told him that his friend couldn't stay. And before he knew it, his friend passed away. So he got himself together and went another way. The boy grew up and followed his plan. But to this day, he wonders if he ever became a man. Thank you.